The Oscars' Best International Feature category has always been a mix of artistic merit and political maneuvering. It's a category that, ideally, should celebrate films that represent a country's culture, history, or identity on the world stage. However, Emilia Pérez, France's submission this year, is a glaring example of a film that should not win this award. And no, this is not because of the many controversies surrounding it, but because it fundamentally fails at what an international feature nominee should represent. Before diving into why Emilia Pérez is an unworthy contender, it's important to acknowledge the controversies surrounding it. Karla Sofía Gascón, one of the lead actresses, has been involved in multiple social media controversies that have alienated many potential supporters. Additionally, the film has been criticized for its superficial take on transgender representation and for using Latin American culture as mere aesthetic decoration, rather than portraying it with authenticity. While these controversies are significant, they are not even the primary reasons why this film should not win. Each country submits one film to represent them at the Oscars. The Academy then preselects a shortlist before choosing the final 5 nominees. However, the process is far from objective. Many voters do not watch all the films. Instead, selections are often based on internal recommendations. This means that a film like Emilia Pérez can advance in the competition not because it is the best representation of its country, but because of strategic positioning and industry connections. Unlike Best Picture, which rewards individual artistic achievement, Best International Feature is inherently political. Most winning films reflect a nation's history, culture, or significant social issues. They often tell stories rooted in their country's identity, be it Roma from Mexico, A Separation from Iran, or Parasite from South Korea. A French film about Mexican cartels and the transgender experience made by a director with no deep connection to these topics doesn't fit this mold. There are several reasons Emilia Pérez is an inappropriate choice for this award. The film, directed by Jacques Audiard, does not feature a predominantly Mexican cast, nor does it accurately represent Mexican culture. Hollywood and European productions have long been guilty of exoticizing Latin America rather than authentically portraying it. The film includes musical numbers that feel completely out of place for such a serious subject matter. This trivialization makes it hard to take the film's message seriously. Most American audiences will never visit Mexico, nor will they deeply study the country's history. For many, Hollywood is their primary source of knowledge about foreign cultures. Emilia Pérez risks presenting an inaccurate and simplistic view of Mexico, its people, the immigrant experience, and even transgender issues. When a film like this gains widespread recognition, it distorts reality for millions of viewers. Jacques Audiard is a talented filmmaker, but Emilia Pérez highlights a problem with how some Western directors approach foreign cultures. Instead of being a genuine exploration of Mexico's struggles, the film feels like a distant observation from someone who hasn't done the necessary research or engaged with the subject matter deeply. When compared to films like Roma, which was made by a Mexican director who grew up in the environment he depicted, Emilia Pérez feels superficial and opportunistic. This year, two other frontrunners, Germany's The Seed of the Sacred Fig and Brazil's I'm Still Here, offer far more compelling cases for the Oscar. This Iranian-German co-production is directed by Mohammad Rasulov, who had to flee Iran after making it. The film, which was secretly shot over months and smuggled out of the country, interweaves a gripping fictional story with real footage of the Mahsa Amini protests. These protests were sparked by the death of Mahsa Amini, a young woman who died in police custody after being arrested by Iran's morality police for allegedly wearing her hijab improperly. Her death ignited nationwide protests against the Iranian regime, particularly regarding women's rights and government oppression. The film's themes of oppression and resistance directly reflect Iran's current struggles, making it not only a cinematic achievement, but also a politically urgent work. Unlike Emilia Pérez, this is a film that authentically represents the reality of its people, told by someone who has lived through the oppression and understands its impact firsthand, something any artist should aspire to. Brazil's entry focuses on resilience and identity in a way that is deeply tied to the country's historical and social landscape. The film deals with the lingering effects of Brazil's military dictatorship, which lasted from 1964 to 1985, a period marked by censorship, political repression, and human rights violations. By telling the story of individuals affected by this dark chapter in Brazilian history, the film provides an intimate and powerful perspective that resonates deeply with those who have lived through its consequences or are still dealing with its aftermath. Unlike Emilia Pérez, this is a story rooted in genuine experience and emotional involvement, making it far more deserving of recognition. Ultimately, Emilia Pérez does not deserve to win Best International Feature because it is not an authentic or representative film. It may have a strong cast and a respected director, but it does not reflect France's cultural identity, nor does it have a meaningful connection to Mexico, the country it portrays. The Oscars should honor films that genuinely capture the soul of a nation, not those that exploit foreign cultures for artistic experimentation. If Emilia Pérez wins this category, or even worse, Best Picture, it would likely mark one of the biggest divides ever between film critics and the Hollywood elite versus the general audience. Unlike previous controversial Oscar winners like Crash, which was divisive but still had defenders, Emilia Pérez is not just disliked by audiences, it is outright hated and seen as highly problematic by most common moviegoers. This would further reinforce the growing disconnect between Hollywood and its audience, creating a perception of an industry that is out of touch with the tastes and values of everyday people. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments below. And to stay updated on future videos, don't forget to subscribe.